Let's talk about the concept of owning your own home and talk to Jonathan Davis, economist and wealth advisor. He joins us. Hello, Jonathan.
Hi, Duncan.
As always, pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for your time tonight. Let's look at the specifics of this. A lot of stuff was said today. Theresa May, perhaps looking for further votes from the younger generation by saying, look, we really understand the housing crisis. I mean, you are fully aware of what she said today. Do you think her solution of tackling councils and using disused shops, could that work?
Work by to achieve what?
Giving people homes.
Well, of course it will.
Go on.
Will it achieve the solution that the people actually want? No, not in the slightest.
Okay, tell me why.
Because it's tinkering at the edges. It's what politicians do, Duncan. It's what the media does. The media always focuses on a minutiae. It never looks at root problems. What's the root problem of housing in the United Kingdom? Prices. So the solution is to bring down prices. So, turning an old mini Tesco or an old Maplin's, which is just closing down, into a house, great. So, 10, 20, 50, 100,000 people or 100,000 families will be homed. Great. That's not going to bring down house prices, which is what the under 40s need.
Tinkering at the edges. You've got a blank canvas here tonight, Jonathan. Tell us what the big picture should look like.
The big picture should look like what we had right up until the 1970s, early 1980s, when one individual in a household, one salary, brought up a whole family, paid a mortgage, bought a house, fed and clothed and educated a family. Now it's two parents working and with masses of debt, which when you consider how much low inflation we've had for the last 10 years, very few have had wage rises. Therefore, the debts have stayed solid for the last 10 years. So whatever debt you had 10 years ago, you've still got the same debt now. That wasn't the case 30, 40 years ago. After 10 years, when you took out a mortgage, it was heavily down. After 20 years, it was easily payable off. After 25 years, it was like a credit card monthly payment. There is one solution that none of you guys in the media or in politics ever talk about, and it's so blindingly obvious. In 2012, Duncan, the rate of interest rates, mortgage costs, were the lowest in human history. And do you know what the rate of house price increases was that year?
No.
0. So how is it possible that we had the lowest cost of borrowing in human history and yet house prices didn't rise? Because the banks weren't lending. Because we were just out of 2008. Yeah. The banks were still very cautious, very careful, so they stopped lending. So what did George Osborne, the previous Chancellor, do? He got lending going again. How? He launched the disgusting Help to Buy scheme. So the government itself, this is communism. The state itself is now lending directly to houses, to people to buy houses. Thus, house prices soared again. 2013, 2014, 2015, the Tories won another election. Thank you very much. The solution is very simple, Duncan. End Help to Buy. That will put the onus on banks to lend, and if they decide they don't want to, there'll be reduced lending. I can guarantee to you within 3 years, house prices will be lower. That's how you help the underprivileged.
Okay, but that only works, if I've understood you correctly, if you force, or if the banks do start to lend at the rate you suggest. What if they refuse to do that, then presumably...
That's the point. They will. They will not lend. They will not lend. At the moment, they're only lending at 75% loan to buy. The government lends another 20%. You'll need 5%. Take away Help to Buy, I tell you, the banks will be loath to lend more than 75%. People will have to get bigger deposits, therefore house prices will fall.
Okay, and what about people who can't afford to get those bigger deposits?
why do you think they can't get the bigger deposits?
Well,
because the house prices are so high. If house prices fell, they could get bigger deposits. It's simple arithmetic.
Okay, and the concept of home ownership, this obsession maybe we have in this country, why?
We don't.
Okay,
that is another media myth.
Well, hang on a second. Let me get the question out, because I'm not here to go into bat for the media that you keep referring to. I'm just interested in using your expertise and knowledge to get greater understanding. Okay, so let's talk about home ownership. You believe it is a myth for what reason?
I'm looking at a table right now. I'm happy to tweet it to you, and you can tweet it out. It's the percentage home ownership across the European Union. The United Kingdom is, of course, part of the EU. All but 4 countries in the EU have a higher than the United Kingdom percentage of home ownership. Ours is at 63.4%. 4 countries have less. The remaining 23 countries have a higher percentage home ownership. It is yet another political and media myth that we are uniquely locked into home ownership in the UK. The reason why we did buy a lot of homes is because house prices rose a lot. It's unsurprising that in the last 2 or 3 years house prices have only been rising a couple or a few percent per annum, and because house prices are so high, and because we've got this buy-to-let thing, it's unsurprising that we're not buying as many houses as we used to. If house prices were cheaper, I assure you, everyone would buy houses.
All right, Jonathan, have a good night. Thank you for your time. That's Jonathan Davis, economist and wealth advisor on BBC Radio London.